Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Simple Sounds podcast. That is the work and pending name for it right now. I am one of your hosts, Patrick Depace, joined by my fellow host, Edwin Perla. Edwin, how you doing today?
Doing well, Pat. How about yourself?
I'm doing good. So, a little bit of what this podcast is supposed to be about is, we'd like to talk about music and like certain songs, and we'd also like to, just add a little bit of a humorous spin to it. At least for me personally, I want to add a little bit of a humorous spin while also covering a little bit about the topic, a little bit about the people involved, the topic, like the whole thing in general. So for today, I want to talk about a band and one of their songs specifically that has been making the rounds on TikTok lately. This band is a brother-sister band called Lawrence.
Okay.
It consists of the siblings Clyde and Gracie Lawrence, who are supposedly not your typical pair. And they've been writing songs and listening to countless artists like Stevie Wonder, Randy Newman, and Aretha Franklin. And they recently put out a song called What You Want, and it's been making the rounds lately. And some people like it, some people aren't big fans of it. I've listened to it a little bit. Edwin, I believe you listened to a little bit as well, right?
I've listened to it a little bit as well, so
Yeah. So this is just a small snippet of the regular version, not the acoustic version that we've been listening to.
yes.
So we're just going to take a listen to that real quick.
Eyes on me. Tell me what you want. Tell me what you want. Tell me what you need. Tell me what you need. Tell me what you want. Tell me what you need. Tell me what you need. A BuzzFeed top 10 ways that you hate me. Don't ever call a girl crazy, but lately that is exactly what you're trying to make me. My mind's racing, I'm impatient. My meditation tells me it's in my head, but there you going again with all the copy and pasting. Feel like I'm never gonna. Eyes on me. Tell me what you want. Tell me what you need. I can't sleep. Tell me what you want. Tell me what you need. Headline reads for.
All right. So from like that one snippet alone, and judging at least like what people have been more critical about on TikTok, I can kind of see where they're coming from. What most people claim as far as on TikTok is that it just feels like in a subtle sense that like they're bragging just like a little bit and seeing just how much they can kind of rub in your face like as possible. And I can kind of see that, but at the same time, I also see it from like a production stance that some people have argued as well. And that's just, it's a matter of, I don't know. It's kind of like sense. It sounds very like generic, like soul, like, and
Yeah.
what people have said, like JCPenney commercial kind of feels. You know what I mean?
Yes, I agree with that.
I feel like it's not particularly bad. Like it's well made. It's like obviously put together like by people who you could tell to some extent either have music degrees or like people who just like are very passionate and understood music like in a whole sense. So it's kind of like 50-50 with some things. I don't know entirely, but what are your thoughts on it?
My thoughts are on it. I see where the musicality is on the composing of the song, but as a musician, sometimes less is more. But I'm also a jazz head as well, so when I listen to all those chord changes, I get hyped up. So it's all about a balance for me. So like if you do too much, you could ruin the song. If you do a little bit, the song is gonna be too bland for my liking personally. So I feel like a nice in between is what I strive to go for when I'm composing stuff. For this song, I feel like it's a little too over the top, but it sounds pretty good. The arrangement sounds really nice. So
Yeah. Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. And like, I'll admit, at first, like when just hearing the rounds about it at first, I was very critical because, like, they have admitted themselves, the band, that they are kind of Nepo babies in a sense, and that kind of stirred me a wrong way. But, I kept more of an open mind, and as we went on before recording this, it was brought to my attention by other people who have listened to the song, like other things that they've done, and just making the rounds on social media. Apparently, the brother, Clyde Lawrence, and one of their fellow bandmates, I believe his name is Jonah Cohen, they went to Congress together to testify against Live Nation and Ticketmaster with their pricing as far as like touring goes, and like how much artists like make from the tours alone and from the sales on Ticketmaster, and because of all of these venues that Live Nation has. So they wanted to so those two wanted to advocate in a sense of, like getting more revenues for the artists that are performing at these venues, and less so like it going into Live Nation's pockets. And reading up on that, like, that was interesting. Like, as someone who knows artists around the school and like people who want to like do this as a career, like I fully sympathize with that and I have respect for that.
Yeah.
So now I'm kind of like, it's more like in understanding them as people. Do I still think the song is the greatest? In my personal opinion, not really, but at the same time, it's not a bad song.
I can agree with that.
Yeah. And then another song that I wanted to bring up, or another band that kind of has that jazz feel to it, is a band called Jungle. And this is a band that I believe that Lawrence has been compared to before. So I'm just going to play a good small snippet of one of their songs, and then between the two, you can tell me like what you think about it.
All right.
So, at least just from that snippet, like,
Yeah.
what are your thoughts between the two?
I personally think that the groove on this one got my head shaking a little bit more, and like, the vocals like actually line up with each other. And when I mean by vocals, like the voices of each individual pretty much lines up with each other, and like they're not showing off at a specific section. Like, everybody's working together. So.
Absolutely, yeah. That's the kind of vibe you get from it. And I want to point out, at least like when we listen to the acoustic version, or when I listen to the acoustic version, one thing that I like that Lawrence did for the acoustic version is they had their own individual singers, like their own moment to shine. And then in the YouTube video specifically, they tag some of the singers like for their socials and stuff like that if people want to check them out. And I think that's really respectful. Between the two songs, while the intensity of the two is like night and day,
yeah, completely
like
different.
with Lawrence is like being more like hype up, like upbeat, like kind of vibe, like more in the morning. Jungle's song back in 74, or back on 74, sorry. Theirs is kind of more like lax, like just kind of like if you're cruising on the LIE, like that's what their song kind of.
I 100% agree with that. I could just imagine myself just going to New York City in my car and just listening to this.
And like, I know a lot of people have given, at least for the song What You Want, by Lawrence, like that vibe of like theater kid vibe, and I think that's also kind of what set me in. Just like love plays, don't get me wrong. Theater people just not my jam. Personally. Like, and then like you especially get that kind of vibe with a lyric that's like BuzzFeed top 10 ways that you hate me. I'm like it tunes me out. I'm like
guy.
I'm done.
No, I understand.
But-
I'm the same way. I'm a very quiet person, so like when I speak to theater people, it takes me out of, my shell, so
Yeah, it takes you out of your shell. But then like there's times where like you can just feel like you're going to break out into song at like any minute. You are this close. But
no, I understand.
yeah. But so I believe you've also said like you've spoken with some other people about
Yes, so we did get a few interviews from a few people here at Five Towns College.
yeah.
One of the interviews is with Professor Oliver Roach. Here's what he said about the song.
So I'm a little bit shocked by that. I do appreciate the fact that someone or a professor here at Five Towns who's mainly audio facilitated, gave pretty good praise about it.
Yeah.
I respect that. Honestly, I kind of agree where he's coming from. I feel like on the base surface, that's what it is.
He did say that, like you said previously, like, the vocalists, when they had their own solos, they stood out and,
Yeah.
they sung really well. So,
Oh yeah, absolutely. And then I believe you got interviews with 2 other people as well, right?
yes.
We can either talk about those now or like get further into discussion later if you want to do that. If you just want to keep talking more.
No, we could hop in as well. We got an interview with Tommy, an SA here, from Five Towns College, who is an SA at one of the studios here.
Yeah, and let's take a listen to what he has to say. So that's an interesting statement. I didn't even realize that there was a drum or trumpet solo in there. Didn't think that was the case.
I did not know either as well. So
Let me see. Let's scroll a little bit past the song, see if we can find it. Maybe like right around like 140.
yeah,
See if it's there. Oh,
there's a sax solo,
oh, it's a sax solo. Okay, there's that.
and then there's the trumpet.
Oh, there's the trumpet.
Those guys are nasty. Okay.
Okay.
The guy on the Hammond.
That's nice. All right. Okay. All right.
Yeah. Guys smashing that piano.
Oh yeah, no, he's like going crazy with it. That's crazy. Oh, vocals. Hold on.
Everyone's got an opinion. Everyone's just got something to say.
Everyone's got an opinion. Ooh, everyone's just got something to say. Go ahead, Linus. Everyone's
And there we go.
opinion.
This is the part where I was looking at earlier.
But everyone's just
Linus.
got something to say.
Yeah, this is the part where
Yeah.
one is
Everyone's
critiquing
got
on TikTok.
opinions, yeah.
Or, well, me personally, this is the one that I've noticed myself, where like they're
Something to say.
taking opportunity for all of them
Everyone's
to
got an opinion.
sing that one part and then tagging them all in it. That I like. I like it when people do that.
Everyone's got an opinion.
Yeah,
I feel like it opens up opportunities for people to like get their foot in the door with music, and for other people to reach out and say, "Hey, we want you on this."
yes.
Everyone's got an opinion.
I kind of want to keep continuing it, and I'm sorry, but like I know we got like a lot to get through.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but like looking through that, doesn't it seem like they're all just kind of like one-upping each other a little bit, or trying to one-up each other?
As a musician myself, I like one-upping people all the time. So
yeah, but
yeah.
like, can you kind of get that vibe from that?
Oh,
I can get that
100%.
vibe from that. Like, there was Linus like going in,
Yeah.
and then there was the other guy, and they're like, "Pff, I can do that better.
Oh.
Everyone's got an opinion. Everyone's got something to say. Like
Yo,
that
spot
kind of,
on, man.
like that's the vibes it gives off. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like I don't know. I mean, I didn't realize it with like what Tommy said there. Like that what's it called? That trumpet solo. That's nice. And like all those different instruments like getting their own solo. I kind of like that.
Yeah.
So I think maybe I've been a little too harsh on it. One of the people that I was discussing with was FTC's very own Fernando Gomez, and he was like putting me onto it. Or like making me understand it a little more. I got to tell him, dude, you had a good point about that. We were listening to it further while recording this, and I'm so sorry. Like, I got to tell him that. But yeah, I mean, you know, there's like, I understand like where people get from, where there's like, they feel like they're just kind of like subtly like trying to see how much they can brag a little
Yeah.
bit. Like they give off that, like that whole line there just literally gives off the vibes of they hate us because they ain't us.
Yeah, for real. I
Get James Franco on that track right there. That's a little joke from the interview.
or Mr. Depace could go on that.
Oh, please. Honestly, if I was ever called for something like that, I would love it. I would love the chance. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Both songs are very interesting. And you know,
Two very different vibes.
two very different vibes. Like just going back onto the subject of it, and you know, I've seen people, or I've seen specifically one person on TikTok discuss the difference between these two bands, and like one of them just kind of being more aware of like the majority of their band, like how they sound, that kind of thing, at least in like a cultural sense of like where they stand. So then their band and like the music they provide, it doesn't sound too artificial or like sounds like it's trying to like put that heavy emphasis on like creating those specific sounds. It's just focusing on a band, making a band, and then making it sound how they want to sound, and then it's sort of slowly integrating into that culture.
I feel like we've lost that nowadays in this culture with all the EDM music. Like,
oh yeah,
like a bunch of the stuff is just programmed, and like there's really like no live instruments anymore. And like,
yeah, and a lot of that stuff feels like too that you just sort of need that sort of balance. You know, like you need to have like you need it to sound good, but you need to make it sound unique also.
it can't just sound programmed because
Exactly, it can't sound artificial, and that's the problem. Like especially with like AI music these days. Like
yes,
I've seen like ads on TikTok where people are saying like, or it's like AI saying like, I can create this kind of song for you in minutes, and like that kind of deal. And like people like putting like AI vocals in. And while those are entertaining to watch, if it's like a character like Cartman or something singing like Evanescence, Wake Me Up Inside,
yeah,
like if it's like for a funny thing to like get views once in a while, that's cool. But if it's made to use in like a specific song, like I don't know. I'm like 50-50 about it, because there are some that I listen to, and like you can take it away from like the vocals. There's this one artist named Boy What who created SpongeBob songs, or like SpongeBob X songs around the characters with like their AI vocals. I'm guessing over his own, and if it is over his own, why doesn't he just sing them?
yeah.
But I feel like he also tries to replicate that kind of like sound. Like one of them is called Plan Z, and it definitely has this like Bring Me the Horizon sound.
Okay.
And it's kind of like 50-50 a little bit. But
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
and
I
I'm-
understand. Like today in today's society, if you really want to stand out, you really got to do things differently. So that SpongeBob, like, you know, adding that texture to his voice made him stood out a little bit.
Yeah, it made him stand out a little bit. I feel like you said, I feel like we kind of lost that a little bit.
Yeah.
with people. But yeah.
No hate towards EDM music. It's
No
just
hate. Oh yeah, no hate towards EDM music. Not my thing.
Yeah.
I don't, cause like I'm not a big party goer either. Is the thing. So like I can't stand in like a crowd of people where they're watching a guy like turn up on turntables.
Yeah.
And then like raising the knobs all the way up, and then like people just pushing in each other. Like I can barely deal with that at concerts.
Yeah, no, I agree. I love DJs, but like, it's just not my cup of tea.
Yeah. No. But like, so at this point, like, given all that we've covered, like, so far with the band Lawrence, what are your initial thoughts on like the song at this point?
The song is pretty good. The musicians are very talented, but like we mentioned already, like the vocalists are trying to one up each other. But in general, the song is a pretty good song.
The song's a good song. I mean, I feel like they can and they probably have done more than like that J.C. Penney sounding thing.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's a bad song by any means. I feel like people being like very critical about it. Like some people do say it's like a jealousy thing. I don't think it's like a jealousy thing. Because like when I was critical about it, it didn't come from a stem of jealousy. It came from like a sense of like I feel like that there's more that they can do with it.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like I said, apart like from the musicians and the singers like trying to show off, the mix is pretty solid. It sounds really good. Like, you can hear all the instruments fine.
Absolutely.
The vocalists are nice and clear, so whoever did the mixing did a really good job.
Oh yeah. And I feel like it was probably either one of them, cuz like I can imagine only at this point, or I'm hoping anyway, that one of the members of the band, mixes their own songs. That's what I'm hoping.
Yeah.
But still, I mean, it's an interesting sound. So I guess kind of like now diving into it a little bit. What are more specifically songs that you're into, Edwin?
I'm more into jazz. Like obviously everybody knows Autumn Leaves as the big jazz song. So
Oh yeah.
So like listening to stuff like that is nice. Like anything from, Coltrane is fabulous.
Oh yeah, 100%.
So yeah, what about you, Pat?
Me, my music taste kind of is everywhere. As weird as it sounds, I literally just let Spotify pick things out and say, yeah, that's what I want. It depends on the day. I mostly listen to a lot of rock, a lot of pop punk, a lot of like heavy instruments and guitars, like even stuff from like video game soundtracks I listen to. But I listen to like a little bit about everything. One thing that I've listened to that came out recently, Tyler the Creator's Noid, or just Paranoid. Really good song. I like it. Tyler Creator does not... He can go no wrong, I feel like.
Yeah, he doesn't
Like,
disappoint.
He doesn't disappoint. Like, you can tell, like, with his lyrics, like, they have, like, very, like, deep meaning and stuff like that. And I think that's one thing, too, that I want to talk about with Lawrence, that, with the lyrics, at least so far, with just from what I heard. And I want to keep in mind for the audience that this is just based on what I've heard, so it's not the full thing. So my feedback on it is take it with a little grain of salt. The lyrics, I feel like... I personally don't like it when, like, lyrics feel like they're just bragging. That's cheesy. That's... If I'm going to be honest, that's kind of what's pushed me away from, like, rap and stuff like that for the most part. Because a lot of rap songs, for the most part, just seem like they're bragging. Like, one of the only few artists that does rap that I listen to is Logic. Because, like, it's not just, like... Because while, yes, there is some sense of bragging in there, because you need to, like, talk about your accomplishments. Absolutely. It doesn't have to be a whole song, though. And he's kind of, like, proven that with other songs. He's talked about, like, where he's grew up, where he started, his interests, like, where he's at in his life. He literally has a song where he talks about being a dad.
Yeah.
And shopping at Target. Like, I'm not kidding.
Yeah, no.
Like, the song Dad Bod is literally about him, like, trying to be there for his wife and kid, like, being a dad and, like, saying like, my life used to be like that. Now I'm a dad that shops at Target. I make music, but I also shop at Target.
Yeah, and that's a cool dad in my
That's
opinion.
a cool dad. That's a cool dad right there. And like, he is also just so nice too. But honestly, I think with the song, my views on it have opened up a little bit more. Between Back on 74 and What You Want, like those two songs, I prefer Back on 74 a little bit more.
Yeah.
Cause like this, like even lyrically, like reading through on it, it's just saying like, it's not them bragging. It's just like, we're just gonna sit back, relax,
Let the
like,
groove flow.
let the groove flow. Like we're back on 74.
Yeah.
Like we're just relaxing. Like that's what I like about it. It's I don't know.
Yeah.
But
So
yeah.
these songs are more like pop, I guess.
These-
And
like yeah, I feel like their songs more like pop soul. I do think like at least what Oliver said with like the harmonies and stuff like that, it's really nice. I think there's no question about it that's very well produced. It's just it's a matter, I guess, like with all music tastes, it's very subjective.
so like we were mentioning earlier, a lot of people have different genre choices, and like, we also interviewed some other professors here, what they listen to on the daily, and we're going to listen back to Oliver Roach's interview.
All right, yeah, let's hear it.
So my man's selection is really all over
Yeah.
the place. Hip hop, jazz, and heavy metal.
Yeah.
3 different combinations that I wouldn't expect.
three different combinations. Though I feel like when you're like a professor in that field, you also kind of have to have those like separate genres.
Narrow
Where like you
down,
have
yeah.
to have like a wide
Spectrum.
perspective on music. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. That definitely is like a wide selection there. And I believe you also got an interview with someone else too, as well, right?
Yes, I got an interview with Kyle, another essay here at Five Towns.
All right, let's hear it. That's fair. Honestly, that's fair. And as a musician, like I feel like you definitely have to diversify your portfolio a little bit and have a very broad background.
Yeah. Gotta understand all genres.
Yeah. And I believe, what were his thoughts on the song? We don't have to like play back the interview or anything if you don't need to, but do you recall like what his thoughts on the song were?
He said it was really good, like, he enjoyed it.
Yeah.
So
I think that's like the natural consensus with a bunch of these interviews that like people like the song.
I feel
I don't
like
know,
here
maybe-
as a Five Towns student, people are really not gonna hate on
Music.
anything.
Oh yeah. People are not gonna hate on like a lot of music. Honestly, I don't hate on it. I'm very critical of it. I do like what they've all talked about, like the harmonies, the instrumentals of it. Like I do think that's all really well done. I feel like it's like too like set in stone. Like I feel like it's like too perfectly crafted. You know what I mean? Like I feel like there was like little to no error. And I feel like that's a little off-putting. Not off-putting, but like rather it's a little strange to me. Cuz like in my head I'm thinking, come on, you've had to at least mess up like once.
Yeah.
Like at least once a little bit. And like there's got to be like that one small little like error that you record in there. But then again with recording songs, like you have multiple takes that you can try. And if you feel like you like certain ones better and like even if there's like a little slip up, you can change it later on.
Yeah.
So
Technology really has evolved when it comes to recording, so
Yeah.
it's made life easier for many musicians.
absolutely. While I do agree that like I do agree with what they're all saying. Like I do like how the harmonies flow, like all of that. I tend to want to be a little more critical when it comes to music. Not saying that like I'm some sort of savant, like I'm the next Anthony Fantano on there, and saying like this song ain't great for me and like etc. Like I definitely want to at least be critical, and I
Yeah.
do feel like lyrically, like it's a very like jazz heavy song, and I do like it a little bit. And like there's not a lot of songs that like lyrically apply to me, but I think that's what I look for first and foremost, what do you look for in a song, Evan? Or did I call you Evan?
Yeah, you did.
Oh my God.
Nah, so when I'm choosing a song or listening to a song, I look for, the melody, make sure that the chord progressions are, really well, and mostly the groove. If the bass and the drummer are locked in, that's everything for me. So,
Oh, yeah. No, I agree with that. I am heavy on lyrics myself, and I'm also heavy for like the intensity of it, how it makes me feel. Like that's my thoughts on it as well. But yeah, I think that's all the time we have for right now. I definitely would want to continue this discussion further at some point, but we want to try and keep it brief, keep it short. So thank you, folks, for checking out this episode of Simple Sound, and we will see you next time.
bye, guys.
Bye.